So before that, I just want to briefly introduce our rules committee. So since last year, Raj Jalli has been helping us setting those rules. But this year, he has officially joined the committee. He is ICC certified umpire. Also, this year, Hima also joined this year committee. He has done a great job of studying all the rules from different documents and has gained the skill of we still
we call him some point.
It's not 100% foolproof document, but we will try to get it done before the season starts. And from last year, myself, Nicholas enjoyed it. Most of you all know three of us. We are in one of the trying to improve the standards as well as make it more comfortable and safer for players to play in ski. So without further ado, I will maybe go Raj and we will go to the class.
Thanks.
Hey guys, there is a lot of.
All right, guys, we have folks joining from other regions. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there is a lot of static and echo in the line.
Yes.
Can you please come closer to the mic?
I'm actually close to the mic, but I think this is the best we could do from here, being a remote.
All right.
Unfortunately, you guys cannot be heard outside. I'm wearing a Bluetooth. So we recommend you guys, if you have any questions, just go on with the chat. Later on, we're going to share the recording and stuff. So,
all right.
All right. I'm going to put you guys on, I mean, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. Thank you. All right, guys. So Abish gave me an introduction. So probably most of you guys seen me in a game here and there. I may not be sure I have officiated all the games which all the teams played, but okay. Can you guys hear me okay now? All right, let's do this without a mic then. Much better, yeah. So one thing I want to start off with is, I know MCT has been here for like 10 years, 12 years. You know, always at the end of the league, what I've been hearing from several people I know of, the end of the league is, man, the umpiring is bad. That's what we want to change, right? Every year we've been hearing the same story. We have, say, 5, 6 umpires who are good. If they come for playoffs, it's really good. But let's say if there is a quick game or a critical game where you guys didn't get a good umpire, irrespective of how the teams performed, end of the story, umpiring is bad. I'm here to help you guys change it a little bit. I'm not going to say I'm going to make all of you guys the best umpires in the world. I can't do it. We're going to do it in steps. We're going to make it a little better. We'll take it further. Whatever we can do to improve the league is my goal. If you guys have any questions during the seminar, please feel free to interrupt, ask questions. I want this seminar to be more interactive. I'm not going to go and say, we have 42 ICC playing conditions. Let's go through everything. What do you do on a ground? How do you roll? We're not going to worry about it. We're going to discuss everything that's related to MCT, how we can implement those in MCT. There could be some things you guys may think, hey, this is inappropriate, or we don't really think it's going to happen here. We'll discuss about those too. Then I'm going to share some videos, some scenarios. You know, we'll get input from you guys again. See what do you guys think? Is it a valid point? What is your perspective for this, right? We'll take it from there, and then, you know, we'll have an exam. Remember, guys, whatever we are covering in this seminar will be in the exam. At the same time, most of the questions will be coming from the MCT document that already been published. So if you guys prepare from that, and if you guys pay attention to the seminar, I don't see a problem with the exam. The exam will be a piece of cake as long as you guys cover these 2 basics. So without any delay, we're going to start. Just my introduction, what we're going to do here in the seminar, we'll be doing introduction. We'll be talking more about MCT playing conditions. Then we'll have some scenarios. Finally, the exam. All right. So let's go with, if this thing works. Something got screwed up with this. Let me just use my keyboard. All right. So question for you guys. How do you judge a good umpire or any umpire? Let's say somebody came to your umpire. What is your first opinion? Okay? Okay? True? Keep going. Only those 2? Okay. Okay. So the very first thing, well, let's say I'm coming to a game. I wear my shorts, a t-shirt. What is your opinion? You guys are all in colored uniforms, perfectly dressed for the game. I'm the only one with some crazy sleeper wear or something. I just came to umpire and say, hey, I'm your umpire. Let's do the game. I think that's very, very bad umpiring, right? Irrespective of how you do, forget about decision making, being confident, know about the laws or not. You are not presenting yourself properly. Just like if you go to work and you wear a short and say, hey, I'm going to meet my director today. I don't care about the director. That's what you're pretty much telling you, right? So that's one bad quality we don't want to do. Even in this year MCT League, we are asking the captains to deduct umpires' fee if the umpires are not dressed properly. This is going to be very strict, guys. There is a $10 fine for the umpires not being dressed appropriately. We're going to apply this strictly too. Then we already talked about the bad qualities. So what do you expect for an umpire to be? What are the other qualities you expect from an umpire? You already said being confident, right? I agree, being confident is one other thing. What else? What is that, sorry? Okay. That's definitely bad umpiring again. You're talking about the second point. Let's talk about the third point, okay? What else? What else you think that umpires should do when they come on the field? There are some basic things we are talking about. I came to the field. I don't know any teams, right? I came to the field. I don't know who the captain is or not. My expectation when I come is I go and introduce myself to the captain. Hey, listen, I'm your umpire. Just get me your team nominations, right? Give me your sheets. These are like basic stuffs you do. Make sure you have a time. You be on time, first of all. 10 o'clock game start time does not mean that you are in the car at 9:55 trying to find the ground. A game at 10 o'clock means you have to be at least 9:40, 9:35. Be there. Prepare yourself for the game. Just like how you go to work. We always see this thing. The umpire says, hey, man, I'm in traffic. I'm coming less 5 minutes. So by the time umpire parks, then he has to go to the men's room, get prepared, come back. The game is already past 15 minutes. The entire teams which came in 15, 20 minutes before practicing, they're just waiting for the umpire to show up. That's bad umpiring, right? You are the first one to be on the ground, so people think, oh man, umpire came, let's keep moving. Let's keep the game moving. Hima. So give me some good umpires you know of at international level. Any good umpires? Who you think is best? Simon Toffel, excellent. Dharmasena, yes. Steve Buckner, yeah, he stood for 8 World Cups. That's not a joke. Irrespective of the debate, I'm not debating if he's good or not. What I'm saying is, doing 8 World Cup finals is not a small thing. Alim Dar, yes. Billy Bowden, yes. So, okay, I got good enough names. Let me ask you a simple question. How many of these umpires you think made 100% accurate decisions every time they're on the field? Okay, what is the percentage you guys think? Let's say out of 100%, did they take 70% correctly, 80% correctly? What do you think? I have the privilege of working with Steve Buckner last year in one of the cricket leagues. I was officiating with him. I had the same question to him. I asked him, I was like, what percentage of decisions you gave correctly? His answer was probably 55, 60. That's his standard of thinking. I'm not saying that, oh, you can do 60% and you can be the top umpire. That's what they look at, not us. And most of us watch cricket. We sit at home, relax. On a TV, there is a decision. The umpire says not out, you say out. And the TV replay, the slow modes, everything, we'll be like, man, what is this guy doing? He can't see the straight ball, it's out. It's not that easy, as we all know. When the action happens in front of 10 lakh people, especially in India, cheering, umpiring is a hell of a job, right? It's a thankless job. No matter what we do, yes, we are humans, we make mistakes. So we just have to go on, right? All right, let's go to the next slide. So let's talk about some of the pre-match responsibilities, okay? What do we do when we come to the field? I came up with some of the keywords. I don't know what I should come up with these words, and I was thinking, so I started writing those, and I came up with a keyword. We all know what DNA is. We all know what MCT is. And I'm going to just use 2 other words called LM. Let's see what those are. So what I'm saying, DNA, First thing is dress appropriately. That's what we just discussed. When you go for a game, I'm not going to say wear a suit and go to the game. Be appropriate what you're going. You can wear your team uniform. That's still professional enough. Or you can wear a nice pants, black shirt, whatever, depends upon the game. Make sure you are dressed appropriately. Then the very first thing you always need to do when you go to the ground, collect the nomination sheet. Right? This is the playing 11, right? People will say, hey, hold on, I don't have my players yet. That's fine. As long as you have enough time for the toss, which is 20 minutes before the scheduled start of time, you can wait. But make sure you collect the nominations. Never do toss without having a nomination sheet. Why? Can anybody answer this question? Why? Exactly. So what happens is sometimes captains are smart enough, and we have seen a lot of smart captains in here too. They'll say, hey, you know what? My player is in the car. Let's just do the toss. We'll start on time. No, don't do it. Get the nomination sheet. If there is a player coming late, make a note of the player who is coming late, but always do the toss only after the nominations. Because if they have to change a nomination after the toss is done, they have to go and ask the captain of the opposing team saying, my player is not coming, can I switch? Only if the opposing team captain says, okay, he can change. Umpires cannot make the decision. If somebody comes to me and say, hey Raj, listen, my player is late, can I change? I'll say, go talk to the captain. If he agrees, I'm fine. That's always the keyword. And remember this keyword because it's going to be, it's normally, people ask me the question, can I change my nomination after the game started? So right now the toss happened, okay? Game started at 10 o'clock, 10:15, somebody or the fielding team captain comes and says, my player was injured. He's driving the car, he got into an accident, he cannot come, I have another player. Can I use it? What do you guys think? Should you guys allow or not? Any other answers? Is it no as a straight answer? So exactly. The playing condition still allows a player can be changed at any point of time as long as the opposing team captain agrees to it. Guess what? Our opposing team captains never agree to it. That's never going to happen. He must be somebody who is extremely kind, or no, the other team is probably a sister team or something. They'll say, yeah, it's fine. But normally it will never happen. So that's one thing. Then the other question is, how many minimum players do we need for the toss to happen in MCT? Do we have any minimum player restriction in ICC? Because they'll never play with 7, 8, 9 players. They will have 11, 15, 20 players in the pool waiting to come and play. So these are all our conditions. That's something we adapted to. Again, make sure you do the toss on the field of play. Don't do the toss outside. Why I'm saying do on the field of play is that is a time when you can talk to the captains in peace. If not, the captain will be talking to this guy, that guy, somebody will be bothering you. Take them inside the field, possibly close to the pitch. Do the toss. Talk to them about conditions. Say, hey, is the creases look okay? The boundary looks okay. Is there any other conditions? In some field, there may be a pole in between, right? And you cannot play to that end. So you have to play on one end. Make sure all those agreements are discussed before the toss. Spin the toss. Let the captains go. You stay around and make sure the creases are good, the stumps are good, the boundaries are good. It will take you, 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. Just walk around, do a quick check. So if you are still in the ground, one other thing happens we always see is people keep practicing inside, right? You do the toss, you come out, and the captain says, I'm going to bowl. These bowlers will take old ball and run to the ground and start bowling. So all the creases, all the stumps that are made are already collapsed. Everything is messed. Then by the time game starts, you have to go and figure those all out. So my recommendation, once you do the toss, you are always in the mode of starting the game. You stay inside, captains will go out. As long as you're staying inside, the captain's idea will be, umpire is standing, let's go, no more practice, let's go. If not, they will be practicing, whoever is the opening batsman will start to play some strikes, bowlers will be practicing forever. You will never start the game on time. You stay inside. Okay? And normally this is what I was saying. When we talk about the toss, make sure you discuss everything that you want to discuss. Again, does any players come late to the ICC games? Have you ever seen players coming late to ICC games? Never. But do you see in MCT games? very often. It's not uncommon. Everybody has families. Everybody has commitments. Especially weekends. It's wife and kids day. I understand. But when you are committed for a game, and out of 22 players, if there are 20 players who are on the field, if you are not showing up on time, that's basically disrespectful to the other players and the game as well. That's how I view it. So if 20 or 19 people are there, try to be on time there. So this is why we introduced for late arriving players too. We have seen this so often, and we said for a T20 game, you can be late, but you can be late up to 30 minutes, irrespective of toss winning and say, I'm batting, so I don't care about my players when they come. No, not anymore. If you won the toss and you are batting, umpires are asked to make a nomination sheet where the players who are coming in late, and you have to let, like the batting team captain has to let the umpire know when his player comes in. If let's say the game started, it's 10:30 or 10:35ish or 10:25ish, and a player comes in, the batting team captain or batting team never informs the umpire. In umpire's view, that player never showed up. So you are playing with 10 now. Same thing happens to the fielding team too. The fielding team, if a guy comes in 30 minutes, because he's a fielding team, you know if he's coming in or not. Whereas batting teams, you never know, right? They will be sitting in a tree, you never know who is coming in or not, which is unfair for the fielding team. So that's why we introduced this 30-minute rule. And then make sure you gather the match ball. Go ahead. So this is not a replacement of a player. This is availability of the player. So if he's not available by 30 minutes, he is considered out of the game. Yep. Unless I'm going to put this one too. There can be exceptional circumstances where he is in an accident. If he's in an accident, he's not going to come and play. If his wife has an emergency, he's not going to come and play, because if he plays, he's not going home. So we got to make sure we remember that point, right? All right, let's go to game time responsibilities. So these are, go ahead. So if it's a T20 game, we are asking umpires to wear a colored uniform. But for T35s, yes, they have to wear white. Yeah, that's we didn't publish the T35 yet, but it will be made part of it. It will be, yes. Go to game times. So these are pre-match. These are game time. So pretty much you are like 5 minutes away from starting the game, right? So what do you do? So I am in the field. I gave the ball to the bowler. The bowler is marking whatever he wants to do. So what do you do? It's umpire's responsibility. I know I heard this topic. Have you heard of the term that says guard no ball? Have you guys heard of it? When somebody didn't tell you a guard and you call a no ball? Is that really a rule anywhere that you guys know of in ICC? There is no such rule. That's gully cricket. Probably from ages ago, people started playing. The only time the bowler has to tell you a guard is if he's switching a guard that he told you once. So let's say if I'm an umpire, you are bowling, I go and ask you saying, hey, are you coming right arm over, left arm over, whatever you want. They tell you. But suddenly if he didn't tell you and comes round the wicket and bowls, that's a no ball. Okay, that's for sure is a no ball. But this one, it's your responsibility to go and ask the bowler and notify the batsman. Do you have to do every over? No. If a new batsman comes in, it's up to him to ask the question. You don't need to tell to the new batsman, because definitely the new batsman is watching the game outside. He knows what bowler is bowling or not. If he's a total new bowler, the batsman can ask. You can tell it as a courtesy, but there is no rule that you have to absolutely say it. Okay. Then you give the batsman the guard. Make sure. I hope the umpires know what a leg stump is, middle stump is, and off stump is. I'm assuming you guys know about it, right? If not, you're not playing cricket. You're playing something else. So there is one question always asked me, Raj, what is a good position for umpire to stand? Can I stand too close to the stumps? Can I stand too far from the stumps? And then suddenly a bowler comes to me and say, hey Raj, can you move to your right side so I can bowl close to the stumps? What is the answer for that question? Let's say some bowler came to me and he says, my bowling action is always close to the stumps. I want to bowl very close to the stumps. You can, but I'm going to stay in one spot. I'm not going to move to the side. What happens when you move on the side? What is the wrong? What's the problem with that? You don't know the line and length of the ball. It could be a total different angle. And the biggest mistakes you make is for leg befores, right? You can't figure out where the leg before is happening now anymore. So if you go ahead. Okay, sure, good, yeah. So where are we? Yeah. So don't move to the sides. All you can tell them is, I can take a step ahead or 2 steps behind. That's the best I could do. I can't move to the sides, period. Then the bowler has to adjust according to you. So some games when I go to, it's going to be really hard for you to judge a good position. There is no standard position, say stand 4 feet behind, 3 feet behind. I can't say that. To me, I will try to visualize it. Let's say the bowler starts, I will mark it like, just like bowling action. I take 2 steps and then I stand, I put a chalk, I mark it just like you guys do for guards. I just put a mark for the middle stump and I stand there. When the first ball is bowled, if the bowler is coming in my view, I can see a line, I can see something, I'll try to take a step ahead or step behind. That's totally up to us. But remember, you have to always stay in a convenient position, which means best to see, safe to stand. That's the key point. Best you can see, safe to stand. When I say best, you always should be able to see his front foot, back foot, and then you can see the line without making the change in the head. I have seen several umpires where when they're standing, they don't know if the bowler started or not. They will always be looking at like this, right? Okay, the bowler is coming. Until he comes here, their head is still this way, right? By the time you turn, you have to see his foot. You have to see the impact. If the ball isn't like before, you're making a mistake there. You shouldn't be able to worry about it. You will know if the bowler is coming. If he's taking too long, then you can cross-check. But your focus, you never turn your head. Your eyes are the only ones should look at the crease and immediately switch over. Because there is only a nanosecond between a no ball and a leg before appeal. It's literally that quick. And especially if there is a good fast bowler bowling, man, you are in a good luck. You have to be like, if you see international umpires, recently, ever since this DRS thing came in or a wicket falls, that's when they're started to focus on the no balls. There are a lot of debates happening at international cricket where they're saying, hey, umpires are not checking for no balls. That's a fact. Actually, they were guided. Actually, they were kind of instructed saying, just be lenient on the no ball, focus on the leg befores. If there is a wicket, they can always go back to the third umpire and ask, can you check for the front foot no ball? So their focus is mostly on the leg befores now. I'm not saying they're ignoring it. I'm saying their focus is more on the leg befores. So that way, if they miss a leg before, no ball here, they can go back, call the batsman back, whatever they want to do. For us, we don't have that luxury. You are the only umpire there. You make one bad call, irrespective of 100 good calls in that game, you are marked as a bad umpire, period. Right? Especially if he's an impact player. And you said, okay, he's out. Man, you'll see hateness. You won't probably get their lunch in the lunch break, probably. You'll be on your own. So be careful, okay? And make sure always when you go on the field, scorers, maybe from your other team, like the batting team, but make sure you talk to them before, or just make sure you wave and know who the scorer is always. And one thing I don't see that commonly happen because scorers are not professional around here, we always look for an acknowledgement signal. Let's say if you signal 4, we expect scorers to just give a wave, or if you have a cloth, just show them so that way the umpire knows it. It may not happen here, but it's a good practice to have. And how many of you guys have a ball counter or an umpire counter? You know what an umpire counter is? The little tiny click. I have it in my bag. I'll show you. It's a good practice to carry that. One thing in MCT which I have seen is, of course, umpires like to score. For whatever reason, they got habited to it. But to me, umpire scoring is a big no. I've been saying it everywhere, anywhere possible. If you are scoring, your focus is not on the game. Your focus is, if the batsman had 1 run, 2 runs, oh man, I missed it. Is it 3 runs here? While you are thinking, the action is still happening. You are not moving to your side to see the runouts. You are not seeing where the batsman is grounding the bat if it's a short run. And worst thing of all, we don't have a neutral umpire for most of the league games on the side. So you have to kind of do his job too. You should be focusing if he's looking at it. Typically, our umpires are square leg umpires. I don't have anything against those guys, but remember, those guys in their mind, they're always from the batting team. So what happens when a ball goes to the leg side? He don't care about what's happening there. He turns around and looks for if it's a boundary or not. That's only his focus is. He doesn't care about it. Can we change it? We cannot. Go ahead. So okay. The question in the room, I'm going to talk to these guys too. So the question in the room is, what happens if there is a score discrepancy somewhere? If the fielding team says this, the batting team says this. So there is no real way to fix that problem. Okay, you can't guarantee if umpire is scoring, he's 100% accurate either, right? Let's say umpire says 28, and the actual score is 29. You cannot say that too. That's where we're getting there. So. Yes. Let me get there. I understand. Like I said, there is no solution where I can say, hey, umpire. Okay, let me like the same question you are asking. Where what happens? How do you check the score? If you believe it or not, there is always a guy in the fielding team who is very good at scoring. Even though he's not scoring, he can tell you what happened on the sixth ball of the 2 hours before. I'm not saying you go and rely on that guy. What I'm saying is we are trusting the batting team to do scoring. The other thing is most of the scoring now is happening online. You are doing app-based scoring. You're not doing old school paper-based scoring. So it's tricky to cheat the paper-based scoring. I mean, it's easy to cheat there. You cannot really trick the app to go back and keep changing it because the game won't stop while you're trying to do something. And you as an umpire, I don't mind if you carry a smartphone, open that score sheet from the MCT site, keep a watch on it. I don't mind. What I do is I have an umpire match sheet. And every so often, I randomly keep scoring. Like, I don't keep every ball. I'll just say 6th over 26 runs. And then I kind of keep a idea what score it is. From 6th over 26 to 8th over 72 is impossible, right? If there is 1 run, 2 runs, we are trusting the batting team. If batting team is not living up to their spirit, there is nothing we could do. But what happens when you make the umpire score is the mistakes happen on the field have more impact. He may be focusing on the scoring. He may be thinking about a run that was lost, and he may end up giving you a wrong decision. That is more impactful. That's why anywhere in the cricket, except this area I have officiated everywhere. This is the only area where I have seen umpire scoring. I'm just being honest with you guys. Well, again, I'm not against you. That's definitely your perspective. I don't disagree to the fact. But my view, scoring is not umpire's responsibility. By doing scoring, you're putting additional pressure on the umpire, especially you have only one umpire in the game. That's a problem. Let me tell you this. I am totally fine. The question in the room again is, can umpire keep some kind of a track? Yes, we are recommending umpire to keep a track. If you want, you can keep a score after every over. You can ask the player and say, what's the score? He says 6 runs. Just mark it. No problems. But don't keep scoring everything is what we are trying to get out of. Okay? Again, there are even within the rules committee, we were discussing about it. We came to the conclusion we're going to leave it to the umpires. If they want to do scoring, we're not asking them to stop it. But we don't want to put additional pressure. Go ahead. Official scoring is batting team, so their score stands unless the umpire has a different score. Yep. There is another option too, guys. Bring another player from the second team and have him score. If you don't trust the scoring, what happens in playoffs? It's a critical game. You'll definitely have your own scoring, guys. There is a batting scorer. There is a scorer from the fielding team. You guys do that. But because you don't have the 12th player, don't put that pressure on the umpire, which could turn the game to, in a 360 degrees. If you give you a wrong decision, focusing on scoring, or if you lose a short run, that could impact the game too. So keep up about those factors as well. Yeah. Yeah. Can an umpire deny a bowler's request to move? No, what is the question? Okay. Okay. So 1 second. I had a question in the room. Okay, from the online streaming. Okay. Can an umpire deny a bowler's request to move? Yes, definitely. All he can say is, can I move 2 steps ahead or 2 steps behind? Don't move sideways. And then another question: shouldn't we rely on app that what an individual can remember what happened on the 4th ball? Yeah, we are recommending that you guys carry a smartphone if you have, and keep a score on the app. No problems. All right, go ahead. Yeah, we already had it. It's just a clarification that I'm trying to give. We'll move, and I will explain to you if you have any further questions. Let's move on. We got a lot to cover. So let's go to, okay. So I have one question here, guys. Let's go to the next one, where you call play to the start of the game, right? Does anybody know what is the call to end the game? Does anybody do a call to the end of the game? Let's say 1 innings is complete. What do you guys do? Okay. Is there a call for it? We call play, right? You said start. Play is pretty much start. There should be a call for stop. Stop? No. Stumps is the end of the. It's a technical term for the end of the day. Now, the call to end the game, anytime if it's a drinks break or typically if it's the end of first innings, you call time. Time is the keyword. Umpires do it, but we probably don't catch it in international because already you know what's happening at that last ball, or you'll see on TV saying end of innings or first break or something. But normally the call is time. When you call play, it ends with call of time. So if it's a drinks break, you can say time. People may say, yeah, it's 10:30, but it's still time. All right. This is one other thing I always do. You guys can do a practice of this if you want to. We have time limits for T20. We got to finish a game in 3 hours, right? And then there is another game that umpire probably has to do on the same field. The delay, whatever we are doing in the first innings, could cause an impact in the second innings or the second game. So we shouldn't be penalizing the other team because there was a fault in here. How do you correct it? So as an umpire, your responsibility, at least a part of your responsibility, is to keep a track of the start time of the game and notify the fielding captain when it started. It could be 10-5, 10-10. What I always do is I make sure the first ball is bowled. If the captain is standing close to me somewhere, I'll just say, hey, cap, it's 10:30 right now or 10:12 right now. And he gets an idea. And after 10 hours, when you get a drinks break or whenever, if he's running late, you are the sole responsibility for keeping the time. Of course, the fielding captain and the bad players has the responsibility, but you are the guy who has to push on them on time. Say it's 11 o'clock. They say, hey man, you got 1 hour to finish 10 overs. Just keep that in your mind. We're not saying go apply penalties. Just don't say anything and say, hey, you have a penalty of 2 overs, 3 overs. Don't do that. Try to be, keep notifying them. It could be the batting team, it could be the fielding team. If the batting team is causing the delay, we have penalties for those too. Technically, any delays, we have penalties around. But keep the time as a factor too. Okay? Let's move on to the next slide. Some of those do's and don'ts here. We already discussed, covered pretty much all of these. One thing I want to make sure that I heard from some of the friends of mine here is umpires are not confident in their decisions. Probably everybody has seen that. Okay, and captains and teams are very smart to spot a bad umpire immediately. Within their first over, the fielding team will know if this guy can be pressurized. If they spot it, man, you're in trouble. Because they will be appealing for every single delivery, out or not out, they will be running, charging towards you, trying to put you under more pressure. So when you give a decision, I'm not saying it may be a good decision, bad decision. Your decision should be confidence. So when you're raising your finger, don't say maybe, yeah, out. That's a bad decision. You're not confident. You're giving an out, you give an out. You call a wide, you call a wide. Don't just wait for the batsman to see if he's going to signal you a wide or not. Yeah, no, don't do that. Be confident in your calls. It may be wrong, it may be blundered mistake, but confidence is the key. It's just like if you're playing the game of cricket, when you're batting, confidence is your key. Umpiring, confidence is the key too. If you are not confident, that's the worst day for you. So those are the main things. And of course, you made 3 wrong leg befores. You're not going to get any friendly talk from any of the fielding team. All you hear is whatever language they know, whatever abusive languages they know, they keep talking about it. But don't get aggressive with them. What happens is it's going to make things more worse. If they ask you a question, answer it, make it sweet and short. Don't argue. Goes to the don'ts. You are correct. You are correct always. That's how you look at it. I will give you an example. This happened to my game. Okay, I was officiating a game. Some of the players actually I can see here too. So this was, I think, a 5th wicket or something. I was umpiring. That's one of my baddest decisions ever. The bowler bowls. He's a left-hand batsman. He played a shot. The ball missed by much, but I heard a sound. In my mind, it was out. Okay, I gave it out. All right. When I gave it out, 100% I thought it was out. Right. Then a minute later, you know, those conscience come to your mind. It was lapse of judgment in me. Okay. For a second later, nobody appealed. That just is the first clue that it's not out. Right. Nobody has an excitement. They were surprised as I gave them out. Okay. I don't know what to do. That was a mistake. Then I said, okay, I made a mistake. Can I change my decision? Is there an opportunity to change my decision? Any answers to this? Umpire made a mistake on a decision which is given out. Can you switch your decision? So within the laws of cricket, there is an opportunity to overturn the decision. But the key word is, how are you going to justify that you're making a right decision next time? I mean, on the second switch, how are you going to say you called it out? Now, on what basis are you going to call not out? You don't have DRS. You don't have video technology. There is no leg umpire. Let's just say if the leg umpire is a neutral umpire, you gave him out thinking that the bat was an edge. Then he comes to me and say, hey, Raj, I can see it went leg side. There is no contact at all. You can take his word because he's a neutral umpire. But now he is a square leg umpire from batting team. You cannot trust him either. So there is no opportunities for switch. The only thing you could do is go and talk to the captain of the fielding team. Ask him that. You can talk to them bluntly. I spoke to the fielding team that day. I said, I made a mistake. I think he's not out. I didn't see an appeal. What do you guys think? Of course, what is the fielding team is going to do? They want their wicket, right? I'm not going to blame them either. They want their wicket. They got their wicket. They don't care how they got it. They said, fine. Guess what? A mistake has been made. Can I correct it? I have no choice there to correct. But as long as if there is another umpire who is neutral, who has seen a different view, you can definitely go and talk. So what we introduced in this year is we have seen square leg umpires making mistakes or being biased, right? Sometimes you as a neutral umpire are seeing on the other end, that's a clear run out, but this guy says not out. Because it's not your turf, you cannot do anything there at that point. But we are giving that flexibility to the NU this year. What we are saying is, if that NU is 100% sure that was out or not out, he can overrule the square leg umpire, even if it's an out, even if it does not belong to his territory. Again, the key word is 100% certain. Okay? Of course. That's right. 100%. 100% certain. We are giving the authority. When a square leg umpire is ruling it's a no ball for waist high, you have the authority to overrule. There is no tape or there is no measurement either. You are looking at your view, your perspective stands. Okay? So, yeah. Well, for me, I felt like no one appealed, but somebody said from long square leg there was, how is it? Somebody. It's my mistake, and typically an appeal has to be made. But if umpire gave it out, definitely he probably heard an appeal. So the other thing I did for the same the other thing I did again, I made a mistake that day. So I went after the innings. I went to the team. I spoke to the player and said, "Hey, listen, that was a mistake I made." And he's like, "Fine, mistakes happen." When you get that kind of respect, is if that guy knows this is a good umpire and he made a mistake, that's when they accept it. But if you keep on making mistakes and keep on saying sorry, they're gonna say screw you. Period. So if you develop that potential, players will say, okay, that's fine, it happens. There is no ifs or nots against that. By saying sorry, it's not going to make you let down either. You're accepting your fault. That needs courage. You go and tell, I made a mistake. He said sorry. I said sorry. He's fine. End of story. I don't know what happened to that guy that day. He took 6 wickets when he bowled. So I think that kind of tricked him something else. So. All right, so there's a question on how can a main umpire give something out? How can he be so sure? Yes, that's a good question. That's what we are saying. As long as it's 100% certain, that means let's assume the batsman is 2 feet outside the crease, and you can clearly see he never made it, but still the umpire at the square leg says not out. You can know, you're seeing he's clearly out from your side. So that's the only time we are saying 100% sure. Don't just keep overruling everything. You got to be 100% sure. Any questions here? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Well, we have levels of offenses. If you have seen the published document, there is level 1, 2, 3, 4 offenses. So depends upon what kind of offense he's going to get. We will be penalizing them. There is an yellow card that the umpire can issue. I'm not sure if you looked at the document. There is offenses now that's been published officially. Good question. So the question in the room again is, what happens when a batsman is injured? How long should you wait before the play goes on? There is no specific time anywhere written. Wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You as an umpire has to make a judgment call there. Let's just say if he's having cramps, hamstrings, he cannot stand. He's not going to play the game within 2 minutes, 5 minutes, because he has to eventually run and the cramps will come back. That guy would need a 15, 20-minute break, go eat banana or whatever. So don't wait more than 5 minutes, tops 5 minutes. If he's still there, I understand there could be a situation where he's a very critical batsman, but there is no runners we are allowing, so he cannot play anymore. You can say, hey, go take a break, let them come back. If he insists, you have no choice. Talk to the captain and say, hey, we can't stop the game forever. Well, you cannot keep waiting for the game. You start putting a time limit on those, everybody will get cramps. I'm telling you, you put a time limit on it, umpires get a cramp too then. So, well, if it's the last batsman, you don't have a choice. See how long, 5 minutes, stops 10 minutes, then it's your call again. End-use discretion. I don't know what's happening there. If he can continue, cannot continue, look at your time, what is your end time for the game, make a call on that. No. The opposing team captain is engaged. The opposing team captain is engaged in only one situation when there is a change of player from the nominations. That's the only time you seek permission from the opposing team. No. Why would you want to drink water every over? You are not fit. As long as, let me tell you, yes, it is an umpire concern, because unless your water bottles are on the field and their guy, oh yeah, then that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if you are causing a delay for the game, if your team is coming from outside carrying cold water, running, and for you to take a sip and go back, it could clearly take 30 seconds to 1 minute easy. 20 overs time, 1 minute is 20 minutes of the game time. It may look like 1 minute for there, but if you consider the entire, that's fine. That's fine. Drink 2 times in between. I don't mind. But as long as there is no delay, that you are causing to the game total time. Let's not talk about what happened after. All right, let's go. Any question in the room? That's what I'm saying. NU has to be smart enough to push the game. And if you see significant delay, yeah, you have, again, we have delayed tactics penalties too. You start applying those penalties, give one warning, everybody will stop drinking water until the warning is gone or he's out. So there is a question in the room. Whose side should an NU take? An angry captain or a tired fielder or a tired batsman? NU is not going to be biased. He's neutral. Let's just say it's extremely hot. We know everybody needs a sip of water. Even NUs need a sip of water. We're not going to push there. We're not going to say, hey, you have to stick on time for that game. We understand extreme hot conditions. We are not physically fit as professional players are. We will be lenient. We're asking you guys to be a little bit lenient, not wait for 10 minutes for some guy to bring some cold water from a car that's parked 2 miles away. We don't want that. Keep the game moving as much as possible. Then we can take it from there. Good question. So the question in the room again is, will the time get paused when there is an injury? If it's a genuine injury from the fielding side or the batting side, the game can be paused. That time you shouldn't be counting against anybody. That's an injury. That's something you cannot prevent. There is no way you can prevent an injury. But if there is a delaying tactic, right? If this guy is running 3 runs every 4 balls and he's tired, now he wants to take a breather, you will see players asking for a banana, change in bat, change in glove. No need. You can probably say that too. That's when you try to count the time against them. We understand we put the time limits over there. We are asking you guys to enforce it. But again, think about the reality. You are the best judge in that situation. Let's just say if a batsman fall down, dived, his gloves has got dirt, he has everything. He might need a minute or 2 to set him down. He may need to change the gloves. That's understandable. But we don't want the batsmen to keep changing the bat every 2 balls or keep changing the gloves, keep changing the helmet. One other thing I always see is if there is a spinner and a fast bowler bowling, the delay I see is switch between helmets from the wicket keeper to the umpire or the fielder getting the helmet outside, inside. Those are the delays you can prevent. You can say, if you want helmet, keep it. Don't keep sending back and forth. When I'm doing some games where there are 2 neutral umpires, players will come and ask you to hold helmets. Can you hold? Because they are so adapted that the leg umpire always holds helmets, water bottle. He's like pretty much a portable refrigerator there. Okay? So you always see that. They'll come and ask you and say, hey, can you hold an helmet for me? We'll save time. Sorry, no. It's not your job. You're not. Once you start carrying something for the batting team, the expectancy stays for the other team too. So pretty much you are tired now. If they give you a jacket, you have to hold a jacket. If they give you their underwear, you have to hold their underwear for the entire game. Okay, so you got to keep in mind that when you are there, you are biased. You have to be neutral. That's your role. We have the delaying tactics. We'll go there. We'll go there and we'll cover that. Yes. So if it's a mutually agreed agreement between the 2 captains and the umpire, if the umpire is willing to stand half an hour more of his time, if you want to stay, I'm not seeing any problem there. But if one team complains or if the umpire complains, you can't do it. Our rules stay. So, okay, the question in the room again is what happens in a situation when the ball is lost? So I'm not sure if you guys made aware of this change in playing conditions in ICC. Earlier, players used to call a lost ball. If players cannot find it, they used to call lost ball and everything stops there. Now it's not players' call anymore, it's umpire's call. Umpire is seeing what's happening. If the ball goes into a field, That's not a time you can deduct against the fielding team because the field is not something you would control. So you have to exclude that time from you. Again, how do you keep a track of all this? A lot of things happening. There are substitutes coming in. You are losing balls. You are losing a lot of time in bits and pieces. How do you keep a track of this? Any answers? How do you keep a track of all this happening? Okay, note down what where. So you as an umpire always need to carry something called an umpire sheet. Can you open this one? There is an yellow sheet in there. I'm not saying carry the same exact piece of paper that I'm going to share, but you can build your own spreadsheet, or you can take a printout, pass it on, just pass it on so they can take a quick look at it. There is an umpire match card that I carry. I always keep time of what's happening. The reason why I keep a track of all those is definitely if something like this happens, people will come back and question you saying, hey, we didn't do the delay. We know nothing happened. We are perfectly fine. Why are you penalizing us? You can tell them at 10th over, there is 1 minute delay because you did something. 2 minutes delay you did because something. This is just for justification. If something where you have to incur a penalty, which may not happen in MCT. I'm not saying it could happen. It may not happen. It may happen depending upon who the umpire is. So if ever something like that happened, you have a proof. You have a documented proof that you saved everything on the paper. Show them. There is no. You can pass it on to. Let's say if there is a penalty you ever put on, the teams will come back to the rules committee or the PEC and say, hey, this umpire is very biased on the other team. He put a penalty on us. What is his proof then? What is NU's defense? There is no defense for NU. He will say, no, I didn't do it. They cannot take that word. There need to be some kind of a proof. That's your proof. You send a picture of it and say, hey, this is my timing. Can you cross-question this? No. Umpires' papers are always official. Forget about what happens on the other part of this. The team can keep a score or track of all this, but umpire keeps a track of the times. If the umpire paper says there is a 10-minute delay from your team, it's a 10-minute delay. Go ahead. We'll cover that when it comes to the fielder section. Yes, we'll cover there. We have that too. We'll cover there. So one other thing I want to specify, this last line. You made a mistake in the game. Okay, you gave somebody a wrong leg before. You know that, or you gave an edge caught wrong. You know that. Don't try to crack that mistake by making another mistake. Don't feel like you owe the team. Okay? Never feel like that. We say, oh man, I gave this guy a leg before. Let's not give me any more leg before. Don't ever think like that. We have science that says 2 negatives make 1 positive. Don't apply that science here, please. We don't do that. One decision is made, you move on. Don't even think about it. You gave a leg before, you move on. Let's just say you didn't give a leg before. The bowler comes to you and say, why didn't you give a leg before? He has every right to question. Don't just turn around and say, it's my job, man. I will give whatever I want. Don't say that. That's going to piss off the bowler. Just be polite and say, hey, you know what? I think it's missing off stump. That's my view. Bowler is happy. You are happy. Move on. So be polite. At the same time, don't think about the previous mistakes, but that's going to cause you more mistakes. All right, let's go. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Yes. NU, so okay, let me put it this way. Can NU justify his? Yes, totally. So it's again up to NU. He can explain it. Some NUs may not be able to explain it, but they know the decision. But it's totally up to the NU. But it's always nice and polite. You explain it to your bowler. Give it or not out. You tell him why it was not. That's always a good gesture. So let's go actually coming to, we didn't come to the last yet. Okay, let's go start last. All right. How many laws are there in total in ICC? Anybody knows? Hima, you missed the trick. Okay, before that, there is, go ahead, hit one more. Hima is, all right. So official laws are 42 from ICC. There is one additional law, okay? What is that additional law? That's not written anywhere in any books. It's law 43, common sense. That's a law. That's a hidden law. That's an open law. You can put it. Common sense, applicable anywhere, everywhere you think. The out of all the 42 laws, there are a lot of gray areas. What happens this? How do you do this? How do you do? There is no certain direction you can say, I will do this for sure. That's where your common sense comes in picture. Just like you guys are asking, how do I judge if it's a, injury? What if he's faking it? All that stuff. That's all common sense. That's not written anywhere. So apply common sense everywhere and anywhere. But so this question is again, who writes the laws? Don't say MCT's rules committee. But who owns this? Melbourne Cricket Club, MCC, is the one who actually writes the laws. Okay? Most of us think ICC laws, ICC rules. Rules and laws, that term is only applicable to that club. They've been doing this from the 18th century. Those guys write the playing conditions. They are hosted in England. They have a team of, ex-officials, England board members and stuff like that. These guys are the ones who actually sit and change the laws and everything. Then what happens next? How do people say? Go ahead, next slide. Well, how do people say ICC playing conditions? What does ICC do? So what ICC does is, once the MCC publishes their version of playing conditions, MCC does not care about third umpire. MCC does not care about TV replays and all that stuff. ICC is the one that cares. So what they do is ICC have a panel of people who go and sit with the MCC folks and see what conditions they apply, what they cannot apply. So remember, ICC is not a entity that owns the laws, just like MCT. What we are doing is we are taking a copy of ICC, we are changing those to our needs, to our grounds, to our players. Same thing ICC does. They'll think about it and they say, okay, this is what we could do, this is what we cannot do. So there, if you look at MCC laws from the lords.org website, and if you compare it with ICC playing conditions, there will be discrepancies between those. The good example I will give you is, when a spinner is bowling a waist-high full toss, right? In ICC, they don't care who is bowling. As long as it's above waist height, you call a no ball. It could be a spinner, it could be a fast bowler, it could be a medium pace bowler. We don't differentiate between the bowlers. Whereas MCC, when you look at their playing conditions or laws, they'll say a spin bowler, a fast bowler. They will differentiate it. We don't adapt that. We adapt ICC. That's like a small example. All right. Everybody has done live umpiring. What is the screw? Okay. Go ahead. There is a video there. Next page. Actually, hang on. Let me go. I'll show you a video, guys. It's time. I'm not going out. So probably, I don't know if you guys seen this video. This video is relatively taken when we had this big controversy of Steve Buckner, Australia. If you guys remember what happened, Sydney Test, there were a lot of this, judgments. So they said, okay, let's make a video on, take a call on how you guys think is, some decisions that you could make. So I'm gonna take this video to, all right. All right. Have you guys seen it? You want me to play it one more time? That's all you get. You are able to see it only once in MCT. You're not getting a replay. All right, let's do it again. Pay attention, okay? That's all you're getting. Any calls? How many? I don't know. Right now, I'm not an umpire. I'm just a presentation guy, so I have no idea. All right, let's see what happens. what do you guys think? That was a clean catch. Is it out or not out? How many outs? All right, let's watch it. Don't trust Ian Healy. Yes, just regular speed. That's all. I wish every ball is like that. I can give all the decisions perfectly. All right, so this one, what's your take? Out, not out? Why not? He didn't play a shot. All right, let's watch it. So these are some things that we're going to discuss how we can come to a conclusion. I'm just showing you what kind of an impact it could happen, how fast it is, how fast as an NU you're going to make decisions. Okay. So let's not worry about that. This is if you are a neutral umpire, you're standing at square leg looking for a stumping. Okay. You guys are watching for a stumping now. So based on that evidence, if that happens in MCT, what is your call? I don't blame you guys. I don't blame you. If I was there, my call is not out too. That is highly. It's not for naked eye to tell you if that thing happened in real time. It's going to be really, really hard. Because of that video technology, you're watching all that. But for us, for me, if I am there, that's a not out call for me. That's how I look at it. It's very, very hard to find it. What I'm saying is, if that decision goes on field in ICC games as well, umpires will just blindly close and say, I'm going to go third umpire. That's because they cannot make a judgment. To me, right now I'm the leg umpire. My view is right there. I can't judge it. I'm going to call it not out. When you are not certain, when you are not confident, don't call it. All right. Let's go back to the presentation. All right. So I'm good. We have a lot of stuff to cover, and we are just in starting phases. Are you tired already? Oh my God. All right. I have 28 slides to go, guys. We have only 7 we covered. So if you guys want to take a break, I'm fine with it. I'm not taking a break. Let's go in T20 mode. All right. So let's come back to the questions. So hold on. What is the most difficult decision for an umpire, right? For any player to take or accept, what is the most difficult one, you think? Yes, 100% LBW. One decision where umpire is the sole judge of it. Batsmen are always, their mind, no matter how you stand in front of the stumps, you lift the bat, it's plumb, you still say not out. That's batsman. But There is a reason why you are an NU, right? You have to focus. Let's see what things you can focus. Guys, this is going to be a critical one. I can tell you there is a question on this. So be careful, and that's going to be the highest scored question in the exam. So pay attention to it. Let's go. We published this flow chart already in the MCC document. I don't know if you have seen it, MCT document. So there are some conditions that you have to consider for a leg before. Okay. So just being an umpire, just you know that if the ball is going to hit the stumps or not is not going to make you a good decision, make it a good decision for leg befores, right? So think about some situations or some flow charts or how you calculate, how you get to that decision is the critical point. First of all, the first scenario, was the ball a fair delivery or not? If it's a no ball, rest of that does not matter. No ball, not like before, done. Okay, then the fair delivery is passed. So the question, did the ball pitch in line with the stumps or outside the line of off stump? So I'm a right-hand batsman. You guys are bowling to me. So I'm standing right here. You as an umpire right now has to make a judgment. If the ball is pitching outside the off stump or is in line with my stumps, so I can hit it. If I missed it, what happens? These are all the mathematical calculations, pretty much I should say, or visionary calculations you have to do to make a decision. So one other situation you always consider is, did the ball pitch in the stumps or offside? Was the first impact, the point of impact is striker's person, which means body, and not the bat or hand holding the bat. So what you are looking at is, where is the impact, whether it's outside the off stump or in line with the stumps, or is it hitting your, not the bat, the pad, thigh, leg, you are bending. Remember that famous decision where Sachin was given out when he was bending and the ball hit the shoulder. So there are controversies. I'm not going to go into controversies, but what I'm saying is that could be considered for leg before too if you have a short player, real short player. So think about where it's making. Then the important trick is if he's playing a shot or not. That's one other thing you have always to think. If he's playing a shot, if the batsman is playing a shot, the impact should be in line, which means if you remember the TV visuals, you'll see a dark blue line that's going to between stumps and stumps. That's where the impact should be. If he's not playing the shot, which means it's again umpire's perspective, playing a shot or not. If the pad is front and the bat is behind, your assumption is always he's not playing a shot because the pad is coming in front. Even though he attempts a shot, that does not mean that impact was on the bat first. You always look for the impact. So think about that when you give the decision. And finally, if there is no interception, if there is no pad, no foot, no body, would it hit the stumps? Those are what we look at before making a leg before wicket decision. So make sure you follow this flow chart. There is order of things. So anything here says no is obviously not out. The one other thing is, if you go to the next one, this is what every guide says, every book says, anywhere you go and look at leg before. This is something I came up with for myself. If I'm an umpire, this is what I look at. Apart from this, these are some that I think about. Sometimes we have a really tall batsman. Sometimes we have a very short batsman who is probably wearing wicketkeeper pads. Okay, so the tendency of international players looking at what we see is, anything above hitting the knee roll is not out. That's what the ideologies of some people will be like, man, it hit above here. Yeah, but you're playing a shot when you bent it. So it's going to hit here. There are some players who are really short. That means their pads are probably here. If the ball hit here, it still can go and hit the stumps. So you have to have an idea where the stumps are, where the batsman's height is, how thick are their pads. Some of the players I know has a very thick and big pads. Pretty much if they put one pad, you cannot see any more stumps. So you have to do a lot of assumptions. So things that you cover is how tall he is. How do you judge it? So can you give me the stumps, right? So I'm a batsman right now. Okay, I'm coming in. I mean, you guys don't know how tall or how the stumps are. How do you do that? Most of the batsmen who comes in and playing for MCT or anything, what they do is they take a chalk always. They try to mark it, right? That's a good time for you to calculate the height. So what happens is this guy will come here, put the bat, take the gloves here. So he's pretty much giving you an indication where his pads are, where his stumps are. Not all the times that stumps will go inside all the groove will go inside. Sometimes some wickets you cannot hit them hard. Sometimes you are using spring stumps which are different height. So every stump is different, every pads are different. So that's how I remember is when this guy comes and takes guard or checking out, okay, now I have an idea. But the other thing is he's still going to stand on the pop increase, which is about an ad or so in front of the stumps. That means if the ball hits here, it still have to travel and hit. So there is a height calculation you have to do. So these are some few pointers you can think about when you're looking at it. Don't just go by anything hitting above the knee roll is not out. Don't look at it. You make a calculation. You think where the player is, where the impact is going to happen. Okay. Then, of course, the conditions of the ball. We all know MCT has excellent quality balls. They swing all 20 overs. We all know that. So keep in mind how it swings, how it does not swing, how the ball is wet. You know, all these conditions. The first 2 overs, maybe the ball may be swinging so much. Third over, first ball, the swing may be dead. So think about the swings too. Nobody mentions any of these in documentation because as long as you're meeting this, that's fine. But you have to think about these. That's how you get by practice. When you do more umpiring of the games, when you play, actually, if you're a bowler, you know when the ball stops swinging, right? You as a batsman, you can judge too if the ball is swinging or not. So things of that nature. Then the other thing is sometimes the batsman has a tendency to either walk down or actually stand outside. So if the batsman is standing outside, the time taken to travel the ball and the height is more. It's going to be longer. It's going to be taller too. So when he walks in front, giving a leg before is going to be much, much harder. If you look at ICC games, most likely once the player starts to walk, even if it hits in the line, umpires are not going to give it because there is a 150 centimeter rule or a 3 meter rule that you could say if it's above 3 meter, it's umpire's call because you don't know what's going to happen after that. It's going to be impossible to determine what can happen. Then the other thing I always tell umpires is how do we differentiate if it's a bat or a pad? And anybody tell me if the ball hit the bat or a pad? Is there an easy way to know it? Yes, sound, but how do you get familiarized with it? So if you're a player, if you're an umpire, get used to it. Like when the ball hits the pad, the sound it makes is different. It's like thud. Whereas it hits the bat, it's always like a lighter sound but sharper sound. Whereas like you have to practice it, or when you play the games, you'll see it. As many games you umpire, as many games you play, you can always see a different sound when ball hits the edge and goes to the keeper. There is always a tuck, but when it hits the pad, there is always like a thud kind of a sound because it's hitting a piece of sponge and stuff. So there is a difference. Focus on that. It's the only way you'll get it is practice on those. Wicket keepers. Also, wicket keepers are a very good. They probably don't know it, but wicket keepers actually give you away if it's a leg before or not. How? Because they have a better view of where the ball is going. I'm a wicket keeper. The batsman is playing. I know the ball is going to swing, and I know my bowler because I've been wicket keeping for him for years. So he's a swing bowler. He's bowling. My first intention is ball is going to go leg side. I'm going to move even before the batsman plays the shot because I know it. So wicket keepers are also a pointer for you to see whether the ball is going to hit or not. He will be the guy who can give you a good idea. I'm not saying just blindly follow the wicket keeper, but this is a point that you could, as you go on experience, you can find out. Okay. No, not really. Not really a natural instinct. It's a wicket. If it's a leg spinner, the natural instinct is to go away. If it's an off spinner, the natural instinct is to go away this side. That's what I'm saying. These are all pointers. I'm not saying these are the markers. Yeah. You still follow these basic principles. These are for your pointers where you think. So again, so the question, yeah, I got it. So the question in the room is, what if the batsman is playing 2 feet ahead of the shot and then the ball is hit in full? It's again, there is a 3 meter rule. When impact happens after 3 meters, pretty much if you take 2 steps, you are 3 meters away from the stumps. It's very hard. It's umpire's call. If umpire says not out, it's not out. But typically, or a general practice, If the batsman is going ahead, I would not give it out because it's very, very hard for you to predict. All right, let's go to the next one. I think we have a video here again. If you can put that mic.
This is where it gets a bit complicated. If the batsman was making a genuine attempt to play the wicket, the impact must be between wicket and wicket for WW to be an option. However, if the batsman has made no genuine attempt to play the ball with the contact, then between wicket and wicket or outside the line of the off. This is the crucial part. After the interception by the batsman, the ball would have gone off in his stumps and dislodged the bails. Any questions? Just refer to Law 36 in the rule book.
So the animation video is good, but there is one more video I want to show you. No matter how much I explain about the leg before, I think looking at the visuals is gonna keep things in mind much better for you guys. That's why I collected a lot of videos. So just be patient. I'm gonna show you another video. Any call on that? I'm asking only call. I don't need an explanation. Out or not out? Okay, let's see.
Now, let's get into the details of the factors to be considered. In the game. Now, let's understand what exactly these terms are and how exactly these factors play their role. Next up, LBW is rule invalid. Bowler is left-handed, right-handed, leg spin or option. Batsman will not be given out in this case. Hence, ball can pitch outside the line. In line with this term, for LBW case to be valid. In fact, the point of contact another point to be considered, which is then impact can be either it can be outside the line of off stump as well. Outside the line of leg stump is invalid.
So this is one thing I always keep hearing. What happens when the batsmen do a switch hit, right? How does the leg before works? So the switch hit kind of creates confusion, but what MCC and ICC decided was whatever he's taking the stance, if he's taking a right-hand stance or a left-hand stance when the bowler started to run is what we're going to consider. If he switch it back and forth, doesn't matter now. So if he still rotates and switch display like that, what we just saw, his leg stump is still his leg stump when as if he was right-hand batsman. I know it sounds unfair for the bowlers, but that's how ICC looked at it.
Bat of the striker and his body simultaneously, then it will be considered as fault in the bat and the LBW appeal will be turned down. Finally, ball should have gone on to hit the start. To give a batsman out LBW, those set criteria should be met.
A correction here, that has to be the first one. For some reason, this guy said it's the last one, but that's your first one. If it's a no ball, rest is nonsense. So, okay. So any questions on that, guys, here? I'm hoping that video actually kind of put something in your brains on how you can judge it. So I'm going to show you a couple more of the videos. And I want you guys to tell me. Pause. So you guys have seen this video on internet? So do you think is there a time limit? Not really, but what does that tell? When you are a batsman, you are a player. Already Mitchell Johnson and everybody gave up thinking umpire is not going to call it. They pretty much lost hope. So there are two things to this. The two ways you can look at is he made a good decision in the end because that looks dead out. The first thing is why didn't he do it in the first place? He's probably thinking something else. I don't know. We can't speak to his mind. But he definitely made a right call. It may have taken a minute, 30 seconds, 40 seconds later. People may think he is not confident, but that's a good decision there. So if you want to go ahead and watch that again, I'm going to go. Did it go back? Let me. You can see Mitchell Johnson left it. Everybody lost interest in there. Okay, I'm going to show you another video now. Have you guys, anybody saw this video? Okay, so this is one now. I think this video has like 30,000-40,000 views on this. I'm not going to make any comments against the umpires, but I'm going to just show you this guy. This is a recorded game. I think it's played between Bridgeport and Connecticut, somewhere in East Coast. But we can make we can learn a lot of things from here about the don'ts of an umpire. Okay, it's not for the do's. Remember, this is for don'ts of an umpire. So look at this guy here. We don't want the umpires like that, please. Okay. And you can see these guys came in professionally dressed. Everybody else except that guy standing there is not professional. I have no confidence in his umpiring right now, I can tell you. Then I'm going to scroll the video to here. And this is the other umpire. Actually, there are two NUs for this game. Lucky for the team. But check it out what happens next. Okay, watch this umpire closely and tell me how many mistakes you guys are seeing right now. Okay, I'm going to show you again. Watch it. Oh, watch his position, right? So watch his position. He's not standing straight to the stumps. Then he's worried about the bowler, whether he's going to come and hit that guy or something. He keeps on watching him all the way till he bowls. He didn't check for a no ball. He didn't even glance at what's happening at the front foot. I'm not sure in which book that's out. I'm not sure what he saw. He probably seeing a different game altogether. Okay. So I hope you guys picked up what you shouldn't be doing, right? Okay. Again, exactly. So I'm not again. I have nothing against this guy. Okay. I just saw that video and I said this is not how it should be. So I'm just showing you a don't video. So okay, let's say this was a mistake from him, and we have. Go ahead. Sorry. So, typically, that's a good question. So the question in the room is, how long can umpire take before he makes a decision? I'll give you two example scenarios here. One we just saw. The ball is still in play. The ball is not dead. Ball becoming dead or calling off over does not invalidate the appeal. The appeal was made. You as an umpire has to answer every appeal. Could be out, could be not out. You have to say it out. Most of the times we see umpires just shaking their heads. That is fine as long as the bowlers are able to understand it. But you have to say it out loud, not out. Just say it out. But to answer to your question, did that guy take enough time? The ball is still in play. The umpire has every right to come back and make his decision. No problem. The other question I will add to your scenario is, let's just imagine there is a ball exactly happened on the 6th ball of the over. Okay. Batsman played a shot. There was a tiny faint edge. It went into keeper's hand. Clean catch. Okay. Batsman knows it. He edged it. Nobody appeals at that point. You called over. You started walking to your square leg position because the next umpire is going to stand on the other side or something. So the keeper, while walking, comes to you and say, "Hey, I thought it was an edge. How is it?" You already called over. Keeper now appeals, makes an appeal, saying, "How is that?" And you know it's an edge. Just because nobody appealed, you didn't give it out. Because for an appeal, somebody asked, for an appeal, you have to answer. If there is no appeal, you don't need to answer. So there was a scenario. What do you guys do? The over has been called. The edge was, you know about the edge. Batsman knows about the edge. Just because nobody appealed during that ball, you didn't call anything. You called over. You just started walking. The keeper came to you and asked, "How is it?" You can't question why. It's up to him. It's up to him. Okay. Any other answers? Okay. Any other answers? So your answer is correct, and yours too. So the call of the over does not invalidate appeal. Okay, until the next ball, or at least until the bowler starts to run up. Like let's say next bowler come in, take the ball, and he even takes one pace, then it gets void. So until the next ball or bowler starts to begin his run up, that appeal can be validated. So to answer your question, they can ask until then, and you can make a decision until then. Doesn't matter. The incident happened when the ball is alive. You don't need to make a decision when the ball. So let me just tell you, the run out happens, right? The ball hits the stumps, the run out happens. What do? You wait until the ball is dead and you'll make a call. You won't just say, "Run out happened, let me just give you out." Always you wait for the ball to be dead. So ball becoming dead does not invalidate appeal, or calling of the over does not invalidate appeal. Does this happen in international cricket? Not so often. If you do it in MCT or local league, your other captains will be looking at you like an idiot. Probably you don't know it. But the laws allow you to do it. Your question. Doesn't matter. You have to answer any appeal as long as you can hear. Let's just say if the long on player just says, how is it? You don't hear, you cannot appeal. You cannot answer the appeal. The appeal has to be heard by the umpire. Who are you appealing to? Umpire, right? Yeah, you have to answer it. Let's just say nobody appealed, but the guy in the fine leg or deep square leg appealed. If you still think it's out, you have to answer it. Well, ICC has limitations for that. Really, in local leagues, we cannot control it because the enthusiasm is too much. I always do one appeal is enough. You don't need to charge in and say appeal. If they are doing it, you can quote them. Ask the captain. If you do that, kind of warn them. We don't have anything in playing conditions because it's going to be hard to interpret what is a longer appeal. But if you look at the ICC games, if the keeper runs in and starts to appeal or charge, umpires will go to the keeper and say one appeal is enough, and they will let the captain know. And if you do it twice or thrice, you will get penalized too. Go ahead. You cannot control anything happening outside. That's fine. That's fine. No, they are audience at that point. No, you cannot control an audience. You as an umpire has only authority within that boundary yard. Whatever happens outside the boundary is none of your business. They can be abusing you. They can be abusing all the players. You as an umpire cannot control what outside players are doing. Or it doesn't matter. But remember, that is DRS. You cannot ask for technical assistance. Okay, so let me put it this way. The players who are standing outside in international cricket or sitting outside in international cricket are still bound by the same playing conditions as the players are playing inside. For our leagues where you are playing, when you cross the boundary line, you are an audience at this situation. You cannot be considered a player part of the game, right? So once you cross the boundary line, there is nothing you could do. Whereas in international, the coaches, the players are bound by code of conduct and they cannot violate those code of conducts. Yeah, it doesn't matter because if 12th man can hear and none of your players are hearing, there is a problem in your team. I can tell you that the entire team has a problem with ears. Okay, so there is a. All right, let me go through the question. How do umpires judge wides when the batsman changes guard? We're going to cover that when we go to the white ball, or shortly we'll be there. Yeah, sure. I'm fine. Okay. You want to announce? We have that situation. We will be covering that shortly. All right. So you guys want to take a 5-minute break and come back? Regroup? Hang on. All right. Guys, we are taking a 5-minute quick break, so we'll reconvene in 5 minutes, okay? All right, guys. All right, let's reconvene. I'm going to call play again. Let's go. Play. Come on. Come on. All right, guys. So now that we covered the biggest hurdle for leg before, we're gonna go and look at MCT playing conditions. Okay. All right, guys. Please quiet, please, quiet. All right. Let's go and cover the MCT ones. So, you're not able to hear me? Can you guys on video call? Can you hear us? I should be able to. Okay. So wherever we specify playing conditions, if there is a contradiction with ICC or MCC, anything, MCT playing conditions take over. That's why we wrote those, right? And we already discussed about, we don't want anybody to run into the ground and complain to the umpire and say, hey, I have a problem. It's always either fielding team captain or vice captain or the batsmen at the crease are the only ones who can raise a question. If you ever see players charging in from outside, that you can consider as a deliberate distraction for the game or deliberate delaying. You can actually penalize the team who is doing it. So make sure all the requests or questions, clarifications has to happen by the captain of the fielding side or the vice captain or the batsmen at the crease. Do not allow anybody from outside. So even if it is the MCT authority, don't let them unless you are going and engaging to them. Once you are inside the field, you are the boss. Then we already discussed about the late arrival of the players. If you don't show up the game within, sorry, go ahead. Nope, nobody is allowed. Only the batsmen at the crease or the captain and the vice captain of the fielding team. Only those guys can question it. As soon as one start coming in, there will be 5 other guys coming in and the time will be lost like crazy, not doing anything. And we already spoke about the 30-minute If you're not showing up to your game, be it batting team or fielding team, if you don't show up within 30 minutes, you're not eligible to play that game. If it's a batting team person, it's a responsibility of the batting team captain, or at least some of the players. As soon as that guy, the late player comes in, just wave the umpire and say, hey, my player is here. That's all we're asking for. Okay, make sure you. Well, if the outsiders want to get umpire's attention, they know very well how to get it. I can tell you that much. So we already spoke about the minimum number of players. We need minimum 7 players for the toss to happen. If there are no 7 players, whichever team has 7 players will get the toss. And by the time if the game starting, if the players don't show up, if you still have 7 players, we have playing conditions already published on how to adjust. I mean, how to penalize things. So you already, I believe you already reviewed those. Go ahead. You have a question? Okay. Yes, you have to do that. Yes. It has to be the decision of batting or bowling or whatever you're doing. As soon as the toss has been spun, it has to be notified immediately to the captain, to the umpire and the opposing team captain. Don't wait. Hey, give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna let you know. No. The umpire should insist. That's the other reason why I'm saying is do the toss in the pitch, so you don't have these outside distractions. You don't start looking at and say, hey, we won the toss. What do we do? The expectation is once you are coming into the field, you as the captain should know what you're doing. If you are looking for guidance from somebody else, I think you don't need to be the captain at that point, because you don't know what you're doing with your team. Somebody says, hey, this guy is my lucky guy who he always wants the toss. I want to send him. That's fine. You can send somebody, but make sure he knows what he's doing. After winning the toss, don't look at somebody and say, what is my decision? Okay? No. That should never happen. That's a bad practice. We are stopping it. You have to tell them right now. Again, sledging, don't say anything. The first time you see anything, it doesn't matter what it is. If you as an umpire felt it offensive, some bowlers have this tendency of bowling the ball and say the F word or the G word or whatever. It may not be intended on the batsman, right? It may not be intended on you or the batsman. But as soon as you hear it, just go to the umpire and say, hey, watch language. Just tell the player, watch the language, What happens is, batsman may take it offensive. He doesn't know it was directed at him. In the heat of the moment, if it's a quick, typical game where your bowler is so aggressive, he says F word, batsman hears it and say, hey, did you say it to me? We don't want all that. The first time you hear it, just tell the bowler, say, hey, even though you said it to yourself, watch your language. Just a caution. That's the first time you have to stop it. You skip it, it's going to grow and grow and grow. Okay? Then we already told umpires has to be on time. If you don't show up on time, if you don't dust properly, there is a $10 penalty. And before that, there is a substitute question that was raised. People are asking, why can't we have substitutes, all that. So we, as a RCT, decided this. If you have an on-field injury, pay attention. If you have an on-field injury and the NU says this is an on-field injury, right? NU says it's fine. You can have a substitute for, there is no limitation on how many overs you can have a substitute. You can have a substitute for 16, 17, whatever, as long as you are not able to do it. But if you want to take a comfort break, or if you are tired, if you are just, don't have enough breath, you want to go out, you can do so. You can get a substitute, but that substitute is allowed a maximum for 4 overs. Guys, pay attention. When I say 4 overs, it's not for one player. He could be switched between multiple players. He could be switched with multiple players, but the maximum time a substitute can stay in the field is 4 overs. He could be switched between 4 different players. That's fine. That means they're getting 1 over each. Or one bowler can go out and come back within 4 hours. That's all. And they have to serve the penalty time, irrespective of the injuries on field or off field. If they're out for that many overs, they have to wait that many overs before bowling. If it's batting, they have to wait that much time or that many overs. Or if 5 wickets fall down, they can come on bat. So they all still stay. Hang on, Ram. I think that was probably an old document. All right. I think that's an old copy, probably. No, ICC does not abuse substitutes. If we give substitute for everybody, you guys will bring a good and strong guy who is in 25s and replace your players who are above 35, 40, and this guy will be on field for 20 overs. They will keep switching the substitute. There is an abuse of substitutes that can happen. Typically, what ICC does is you will get only substitute if you are have an on-field injury. Also, what they do is if you want to go change the boots or shoes, you have an 8-minute time frame. You can go and come back with no penalty. That's when they allow the substitute, but they don't penalize it. That's why we see when somebody goes out for shoes or take a tiny break and come back, their standards are different. We're not going to go there. But if we start giving substitute for everybody for no reason, you will have substitute in 20 overs, fielding and everything. I'm sorry? Well, NU's discretion is the key word. We are not asking NUs to be a doctor, but pretty much you and I have enough experience in the field to see when the guy is faking or not. I think so. Right? Go ahead. Sure. The maximum this guy can be on the field is 4 overs. So let's say he comes in for you second over, goes out third over, he comes at 10th over for a different fielder, that's fine. On-field injury, no substitute, and use discretion. NU has to say this is an on-field injury, then he can stay all the game. Okay. The other thing. Go ahead, Sudhakar. 1/5 of 20 overs. So how much you want? Hang on. What do you want to propose? So there is no mathematical calculation on why we can do certain things and what numbers. We kind of looked at all the things possible. What is the best way not to give unfair advantage to the other teams? If we started giving more overs, let's just say if I give 6 overs for the bowler, this guy will bowl 4 overs and just go out and sit and come back after 12 overs, and he still can bat. He's being almost freshen up. We don't want to give that kind of a break to any advantage. So we thought 4 is an ideal number. There is no real justification. Why would you come with 4 or anything like that? We kind of try to help out the teams. At the same time, we don't want to be saying, oh, you can get only substitute if you're injured. If we do that, we'll have problems too. So we kind of came in between. Yes, T35, it will be published. We will change the numbers, but it may not be a bigger change, but it will be changed. All right. The other thing we have seen so far, or we have seen this thing happen, is we are asking you guys to be familiar with the playing conditions. We already published the document. We are doing a seminar. We are asking you to write an exam. The understanding of this is you guys are familiar with the playing conditions. If you are not, always carry something in your phone as a PDF document or in a pocket printout or something like that. But the thing is, we are trying to prevent you guys calling RCT guys when you have a doubt. Don't just pick the phone and say, yeah, Raj probably knows this playing condition, and I may be driving to South Carolina or something, and I may be thinking something else, and I say, yeah, just give him out. Don't take that. And then you call Abhish, and Abhish says not out. We don't know what the scenario is. You guys are the authority there. You guys have seen everything firsthand. Your decision is what we trust. We have seen this happen many situations where teams call him, teams call me, teams call Hima, get 3 answers quite in the ground. No, we are preventing that. NU is the ultimate authority. If NU has question, only if NU has question and has a confusion, he can call us. Depends upon whoever will answer or may not answer. We may point back again to the rules book. If there is nothing in the rules book with a scenario that happened on the field, there is nothing we could do. We're going to let NU take the decision, and we're going to stand by it. And if there is a correction that needs to be made, there is a modification that needs to be made, we will release an urgent addendum to the rules. We'll publish it to all teams if such scenario ever happens. But the idea is do not keep calling. We are like 6 or 7 guys. Don't keep calling everybody. It's not that we don't want to answer the phones. We don't want to come into a situation where 6 of us gave different perspectives and you guys are fighting in the field with us having no first-hand knowledge, right? So that's one thing we want to keep you guys away. So be prepared with yourself. Take a playbook or keep a PDF in your phones. Mm-hmm. You mean a batsman or a fielder? So as long as he's serving the enough penalties, injury or not, he has to still serve the time penalty. So if he's gone at 15th over, he can bat after the fifth over, or he can bat after 5 wickets were down, whichever happens first. And there is another situation every time it happens. What happens to the calls on the boundary, right? Again, there was a question asked in the room too. We don't have any video technology. Irrespective of some games, maybe video covered for whatever the teams want to do. We are not taking any video coverage into evidence. If we do it for one game, we have to do it for every other game, and we have to be consistent. We need to have a third umpire and all that stuff, which we are not doing. So irrespective of whatever the video coverage footage is, we're going to ignore it. If the NU can make a decision whether it's a boundary 6 or a catch or not, if NU cannot judge it from his position, he's going to ask for the fielder's vote, and he's going to take the fielder's vote. Fielder may be not in the sportsman spirit, and he may be saying it's out, it's out. End of story. Because there is no way for NU to actually, we can ask the player to stop there and say, go run and look at it. We have heard about that, but that's not going to happen either, because this guy may take a 6 catch on the boundary and take one step in front before you even watch it. You don't know where his position is. Even in TVs where we see, they zoom in on the foot, they touch it or not. There is a lot of things that happen. So we cannot do all that. So if NU cannot make a decision, fielder's word is your idea. That's the end of decision. Okay? Yeah. So the other question about substitute, can wicket keep as well? If a wicket keeper is injured and the substitute wants to come and wicket keep, he can, but it's still a 4-over limit. So the 4-over limit applies for substitute or wicket keepers too. Just keep that in mind, okay? Injury, again, NU's discretion. If NU thinks the injury is genuine, yes, he can continue. That was changed. Yes. Okay, go to the next. So we already spoke about that. There is one other thing that, people were questioning about how many fielders can be on the leg side. I guess you guys know, maximum 5. Anything more? Bowler is not a fielder. If he's coming round the wicket, don't consider bowler as a fielder. I heard that story too. That's invalid. Bowler is a bowler. Okay? And one thing we actually kind of included this year is collision between the batsman and the bowler and the batsman. So imagine a situation, and we have seen this happen to Sachin, Ganguly, and everybody, where you are running, bowler bowled, and then you're running, there is a collision, you fall down, and then you get run out. ICC allows it because they can look at the video footage again and again and see if it's a genuine obstruction or not. We don't have all that, right? So as long as NU feels that if that collision was not happened, the batsman would have made the field. Again, it's NU's discretion. Or if it's intentional, it's all NU's discretion. You call and signal dead ball as if nothing happened, return the batsman to the ends, just bowl. So there is no change in the result. Okay? So make sure, guys, whenever these collision things happen, which could happen, we don't know. We don't want argument because ICC can give you out. But here we don't have that video technology again. Call a signal dead ball and then just pre-bowl the ball, put the batsmen back to their end. It could be fielders too, because let's say not to batsmen, no. Batsmen on the fielding team. Okay, and then go ahead. We'll come to obstruction part. I will cover there. So again, there is always a question about wide balls. Okay, especially when the players start to walk. Okay, so I have seen this firsthand too. Again, so we have seen batsmen trying to help umpires. Okay, if he sees the ball and he thinks it's going wide, I have seen several batsmen walk and do like this. Hey, it's wide. Sorry, no. You are bringing yourself into play by coming closer to the ball. The wide can be judged when you are in a normal stance, which is your typical normal stance. You don't need to help umpires. Umpires have a wide line. They know where the wide is. But people have this tendency, just they walk and do like this and say, hey, is it not wide? Sorry, no. You are already too close to play the ball. So think about that. And again, when people do a switch hit, this is one confusion part for wide balls too. People are in the stance, then they try to switch hit. So is my leg stump still a leg stump? For this condition, if you switch hit, your leg stump wide is same as your off stump wide. So the distance increases. So the batsman cannot complain that that's my leg stump wide anymore. Okay? Any questions on this? All right, good. So then we're gonna do no balls. So all no balls are free hit except for narrow pitches. Except for narrow pitches. Okay, there are some grounds which have very tiny narrow pitch, and if the ball pitches outside, we are calling it a no ball. But it's of no batsman's fault or no bowler's fault. We don't want to penalize them. So except that one situation, every no ball is a free hit. Waist height, fielding restriction, anything. Okay, followed. So there are, yes. So again, above the heights, above the waist heights, if let's say if your square leg umpire calls it a no ball, and if you think it's not a no ball, it's perfect height from your view, you can overrule that. Then there is another question somebody actually just pointed to me is, we have seen this when players start to walk, okay, and then there is a bouncer. How do you call it? For you, it's always his position in the stance. So if consider him, what happens if the ball is at the crease, right? If he walks it and he gets bounced and he dips it, he looks at you. There's nothing you could do there. But what happens at your instance? Would it go above the height? Would it go below? Just assume it. If you cannot assume it, because he walked, there is nothing you could do. So that's your perspective. Even when he stands here, the ball going on the shoulder or the head is again your perspective as an umpire, right? So those are the things that you have to focus when you are standing at a NU on the leg umpire. But most of us, again, coming from batting teams, so think about that. If they are in doubt or if they are giving an incorrect decision, you have the power to overrule. Still, crease is your normal stance. You don't consider where the batsman's normal stance is. So the normal stance is always on the crease. Okay, so yeah, the one other thing I want to tell you or ask you a question. Go ahead, Sudha. No, two neutral umpires, still neutral umpires call. Well, of course, this we are talking specifically when the umpire on the square leg is from the batting team. I thought we already covered this. Is there a guard no ball? That one only happens. That one only happens when you tell the umpire right arm over, and then without telling the umpire you come right arm round. That's when it happens. That is the no ball. So let's say you're coming to me. Your first ball, you told me you're coming right arm over, and I'm assuming, batsman assuming, you just without notice you just came right arm round and bowled it. It's a no ball followed by a free hit. Yeah, free hit. Every no ball is a free hit except for narrow pitches. And there is one other question which is typical is, so let's say if this no ball is because of a fielding problem. Let's say you have only 3 guys inside the circle than 4. And the umpire noticed it. You call a no ball. Technically, you cannot change field for free hit if the batsman is still the same, right? What happens here? How long will you? Exactly. So this is the only time that field changes are permitted in free hit other than from the batsman changing. If this no ball is because of a fielding infringement. Okay? Go to the next. Yeah. So you guys already know about this. So these are the no balls. Watch for this screen, guys. Look, directly over the head, it's a wide. Yes, we'll cover there. Yeah. Go ahead. Bouncer over the head is a wide, and then you call one for the over. No ball. It's not a wide. They already made a contact, right? So that would be the first warning. Yeah, he can get out. Yeah. Yes. So guys, pay attention to this. So let's me put this question in. What take hang on. What takes precedence? White ball or a no ball? No ball always takes precedence. So irrespective of whatever the scenario is, if there is a situation where the umpire thinks it's a no ball and a white ball, let's say it's a waist high full toss. Okay, the main umpire thought it was going too wide and he signaled wide. But from the square leg, it was a no ball, and he comes and tells you, yeah, it's clearly above the waist, and you noticed it too. So you just say not and call no ball. No ball takes precedence. There are some situations where, okay, let's look at this no balls here, guys. Pay attention to these. So if you touch the return crease, it's a no ball. If you bowl outside the return crease, it's a no ball. If your foot is not, it has some part of the foot has to be inside. Always watch it for those no balls. Okay. Do you guys see any fault in the screen on the left hand side? Is there any mistake here? These are the modes of dismissals. Correct. You cannot get out handling the ball in a wide ball, because if you handle the ball, that's not wide anymore. So I intentionally put it there to see if anybody's going to catch. Somebody caught it. Good. All right, let's go. We'll go through it. Give me. In a free hit run out, what is the method of dislodging? You break the stumps. In a free hit run out, what is the method of dislodging? So you break the stumps. So there is a question about in the room. There is a question in the room. What is the differentiation between a run out and a stumping by the keeper? Can a keeper do a run out or not? What are the conditions for it? Right. So as long as if the batsman is not making an attempt and if he's outside the crease, that's a stumping situation. And if the batsman misses the ball and tries to run, if there is an attempt to run, keeper can do a run out too. So the clarification is this: as long as there is an attempt to run, that's where the key point is. Is it a stumping or a run out? If it's a no ball, you cannot be stumped out. But if he's trying to take a run, then he can be run out. So you have to make the judgment call. And we already have the pitch dimensions, the T20 power plays, T35 power plays. We already published this one out. Go to the next one. Okay. He can release behind you. There is no problem. There is nothing. As long as you cannot see as an umpire, there is nothing you could judge against him. Yeah, there is nothing you could do. Yeah, as long as you couldn't see something's happening, you couldn't see. There is nothing you could do control. So, guys, these are some of the penalties that we put it here. So I'm going to go through real quick on this. If the leg umpires are getting over enthusiastic and trying to get themselves involved in the game, shouting, run, four, whatever. If the NU feels that he's getting engaged, he's going to get a first warning. The second time he does it, he's going to get replaced, and the captain will be warned of the batting team. If he does the third time again, there is a penalty run. 1 run penalty will be added. So just remember that. As long as you're a leg umpire, you still think yourself as an umpire. We are okay if you go and talk to them when you're giving some water bottles in between the overs. That is understandable. But don't guide the teams. Okay? And then bowler blocking the view of the umpire. We have seen this happen many times. Bowlers will start running in front. You cannot see anything happening after once he comes in your view. You don't know if it's an LBW. You don't know if it's a wide. You don't know if it's a catch. Nothing. So the same situation we are trying to cover, you're going to warn first time, second time, third time, you'll call a no ball with a free hit. As soon as that happens, the captain is going to kick the bowler and say, move. Don't stay on the pitch. Move. So let's get to the practice. We have seen this so many times. Then this is one of those things, deliberate delaying tactics, changing the gloves unnecessarily, taking the pads off, especially batsmen. They want to take a breath, they drop everything and just walk away and try to do that. Again, you have warnings, first warning, second warning. Third time, 5-run penalty. Nobody's going to take the choice. So you can apply that and be strict on this. You have to be fair for both teams. Illegal fielding. So you have a substitute right now. You go outside. Okay, you are standing on the boundary. You're ready to come back, but you never had got the consent from the umpire to come in. Now the ball is coming your way. This guy is the most critical player in the team. You smartly step in, take a catch, trying to get an advantage, right? That's illegal fielding. 5-run penalty, plus runs taken, plus if the batsmen are trying to cross, that run counts too. So they'll get 8 runs instead of 6 runs. So make sure you remember, every time you go out, when you try to come in, notify the umpire. Ball hitting the protective helmets. So I'm going to give you one more scenario here. So we all have this practice. Wicketkeeper will put the helmet behind, right? The batsman bowled the ball. Sorry, the bowler bowled the ball. Batsman played a shot. Ball went over the head and landed on the helmet or hit the helmet. What happens next? And the runs crossed counts as well. So as long as the batsman crossed, that's enough. It's run counted. Okay, and this applies to the keepers dropping the gloves and running as well. We have seen this. Dhoni gave 5 runs for I think it was England, where Dhoni left the glove on the floor and he was trying to do a smart thing by catching the ball and deflecting it. He unfortunately deflected and the ball hit the glove, and it's 5 runs. And Charan, and I know it happened in one of the games where he and I was doing. Same thing happened. The keeper ran, threw the glove off, ball came and hit the glove, 5-run penalty. It stands. That is considered obstruction too. I don't know if you know me or not, but whenever I am there, I would say not to put it, but they try to put it underneath the cones. That's kind of okay, considering if you want to go out and drink water, it's going to delay. But typically, that's an obstruction too. Ball hitting the wicketkeeper gloves, we covered it. Man catching, which is one of the most controversial decisions. We are going to give one warning. If there is one instance, you warn it, and it's not for the captain or the player, it's going to be for the entire team. You did it, and you didn't do it again, somebody else came and did it, he's going to be out if he's man-catted. Suspect bowling action. Yes, any warnings applied is for team. There is no warning for the player. It's a team warning. Suspect bowling action. This is another controversial topic. 15 degrees, bending, whatever, whatnot. We're not going to go all there. Because even at ICC, they cannot tell. So they always take the recording and then they view it and all that stuff. For us, this was put in place to identify some bowlers who are literally throwing. They're coming here and just throwing like this. We have to stop them somehow. So that's where suspect bowling action coming. If batsmen can question, there is no appeal there. The batsman can come to the umpire and say, do you think he's suspect? I feel like it. Doesn't matter. It's umpire's call. So all the batsman can do is, if you feel he's throwing the ball, you can walk away. You can walk away until the last minute. But if you try to play the ball and it hits the stumps, you cannot appeal anymore. You cannot even question that. That's a fair delivery. Well, unless it's another NU, you are not considering his call, obviously. So it's your view. So what I do to catch these guys is I stand really, really back, so I can see the crease and I can kind of see the arm, but it's going to be really hard. This is just to prevent those guys literally throwing. Okay. That's first warning. You have, so if they break the stumps, you'll say this is first warning for the batsman and the team. And if ever anybody does it again, now they have changed it. You can do it as soon as you enter the crease. You don't need to finish your armband or anything like that. Correct. 5 from there on. Third and more 5. I mean, if you did it for the third and you're doing for the fourth, there is a problem again in the team. But not the fourth time though. If you get 5 penalty, you would see the captain behaving totally differently. Yeah. Go to the next one. We can skip on the dead balls. Probably most of them know it. Go ahead. Go ahead on this dismissals too. Okay, so I want to specify on some of these guys on the top 3 real quick. There is always a precedence for dismissals too. Okay, what takes precedence? Bowled, caught, and any other. So bowled is always the top priority in dismissals, and then the caught is the second priority. I'm going to give you one scenario real quick. The first scenario, bowler bowls a fair delivery. Batsman plays it. Ball hits the edge of the bat. It's a clear edge. And then ball hits the stumps. Before the bails fall down, keeper takes a catch. The bail took a minute or 30 seconds to fall down. Okay, there is an appeal. You gave the batsman out. But how is he out? Is he out caught? He's out bowled. So ball takes the precedence. So the second situation, the bowler bowls the ball, then the batsman plays a shot directly to your hands. Okay, so you are very close to the stumps. You missed the catch. The ball bounced on your hand, hit the stumps on the striker side, and the striker is actually is outside the crease. And ball bounced again, right? So it hit the stumps, and next time you caught it. What is the non-striker out or striker out? Caught takes the precedence. So bowled is first precedence, caught is second precedence. Everything else is the events or the order of the things that happen. If run out happens, everything else is order, but bowled and caught are precedence. Yeah, because caught is the precedence. It doesn't. The ball can bounce off the stumps too. Not considered a bounce on the ground. Correct. And then obstruction on the field, we already discussed. We have seen several obstructions. The one important obstruction I want to tell you is if you purposefully change the direction when you're running and you're supposed to run this, but you saw the ball coming, you want to block and you change the direction, that's out. If you change the direction for some reason, it doesn't matter if the ball has to go to the stumps. It doesn't matter if the ball has to hit. As long as the umpires feel you make an invalid direction change, you can appeal. And also there is obstruction by word, not just by action. There is obstruction by word. Can somebody give me an example of obstruction by word? So I'll give you a couple of examples here real quick. Pay attention to the scenarios. So the bowler bowled a ball, okay? The batsman played a shot. The ball went high in the air, okay? Two fielders are coming close to catch. Suddenly the non-striker wants to be smart and he says, mine, drop it. Or mine, I'll take it. Our intention as a fielder is, oh, somebody is coming, he's going to catch. So you are thinking the same, the fielder is thinking the same, ball lands in between. That's an obstruction by word, okay? So what happens in this situation? The ball is in the air, the striker was supposed to be out if the obstruction was not made. So what happens here? Who is out, if any? So this is one scenario where even though the non-striker was the guy who is at fault, the striker is the one gets penalized. The striker is out. Okay? Remember, everything else non-striker can get out. Okay? So pay attention to these scenarios, guys. Very important.
I head up in the air. I shouted out to my runner. Keep running into the problem.
It's still considered obstruction because the words you are using, if NU feels that's a word can distract the fielder. Yeah. Yeah, that's another too. So here is again another example. Sometimes keepers who are always smart, what they'll do is they want to trick the batsman to get into a run out, right? So as soon as the ball goes, these guys are running. He says 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. You know, because if you as an NU feel that's a distraction, that's obstruction too. 5 runs, 1 warning, 5 run penalty for the second time. So make sure the game has to be done in fairness. We don't want these tricky, sneaky things happening. Okay? So go to the next slide. Yes. Yes. Every decision needs an appeal. An appeal has to be answered, and every decision needs an appeal. So the keeper has not. So fake fielding is 5 run penalty. Not sure if we included it. So for the purposes of MCT, we are not considering it. It's very hard to judge. So typically ICC penalizes it. Yeah, we didn't implement it in MCT unless something that we can discuss again. That's what I am saying. Especially NU being one guy trying to cover everything, it's going to be very hard for him to judge if you are trying to, fake it or if you are looking at the ball. So it's going to be very hard. Probably we'll look at it in the future, but for now we are not including it. Again, that's NU's discretion. If he feels there is an obstruction happens there, either by action or by word, NU can call it. That's NU's discretion. But by running, again, the pitch is primarily the batsman's area. They can run anywhere in between, whatever. The bowlers are the ones or the fielders should be trying to stay away. But if the ball is really on the pitch, everybody is trying to converge. There's nothing you could do. So whatever lines they stay, unless there is a collision that we discussed about, if there is a obstruction you clearly heard, yeah, you have to act on the obstruction. All right, keep on to the next slide. So these are some of the examples of illegal fielding. Don't catch by a cap. Don't put it in a spatter. And don't collect the ball in front of the stumps as a keeper. Watch it. Don't collect it. Okay? Next one. So there were some questions about runouts. Who got run out when both batsmen are at the same end? Typically we have. What do you mean? Like right here? It's a no ball. It's a no ball. Yeah, sorry. Empire, yes. It's going to be very hard again. NU's decision. He can overrule if he didn't feel it. So I was asked a question about runners. If you are doing running and then both of you guys are at one end, how do you decide who is out? Always the guy who is closest is the guy who is going to get out. That's first principle. So here we have a situation where striker is here, non-striker is here, and the ball is hit here. The run out happened here. Typically, this is striker's end, this is non-striker's end. Who is away? Non-striker. Striker end, he stayed at his end, he didn't move. Non-striker is the one who guy came from here, he left his end. So striker is out here. In this situation here, so the run out happened at this end. Striker or non-striker probably took one run, and the second run, striker is coming back. Non-striker noticed the ball is coming and both of them tried to go into one end. Non-striker is coming in front, so he's close to the stumps. That guy is out. Okay? Then here is another instance. Both of these guys are at one end and both are inside the end, and run out happened at that end. Is anybody out? Yeah, because both of them are home. This is not their end. You have to make a run out, you have to make it on the other side. Always, wherever it is close, like striker right now is closer to here. So let's just say something happened and these two guys came into half of the ground, like literally half of the pitch, and run out happened at either end. Who is out? So whichever end that run out was made, and whoever player owns that end is out. So let's say if both of us are standing here and I am a striker and my end was broken, I am out. So that's what happens when you are in between. All right, go to the next one. So this is one of the match cards I actually shared around. You've probably seen it. Go to this. Okay. These are some scenarios that we probably covered. There was a question about the gloves. We covered it. Striker plays. Yeah, this is another interesting question. I am a striker. It's a fair delivery. I played a shot. The ball is right here. And I started to go for a run. Then I realized the fielder is coming in. I can get run out. So quickly I turned and my bat hit the ball. And ball came and hit the stumps. Remember, there is no contact with any fielder. Are you out? I'm not seeing a confident answer. Yes or no? This is what we were saying. Confidence is the key. Yes or no? It's still bowled. It's no different to when you played a ball and inside edge the ball and it went and hit the stumps. It's no difference. There is no contact from the fielder. The ball is still in play. You are the only one who made a contact and you hit it back to the stumps, you're out. That's out bowled. Okay? So this is what we were discussing about players calling 2 runs, 3 runs. We discussed that, and we already talked about the glove. So this question was asked by somebody, Harsha, I think, right, about the 7th ball of the over. So let's say umpire miscounted, and it's a 7th ball, and it's a no ball. Okay. Technically, no ball should be followed by a free hit. Then you realize from scoring team telling you or somebody telling you saying, hey, you already bowled an extra ball. What do you do? So you made a mistake. You realized your mistake. You're going to make one more mistake. We already discussed it, right? Don't make a mistake to correct another mistake. So in this situation, even though you made a mistake, you realized it, you called a no ball, and then you call an over. The ball still stands. Whatever runs scored is still stands. So umpire miscounting stands, but the situation in particular needs another ball to be bowled. That does not mean you let the bowler bowl or have another bowler who is coming and say, hey, that guy bowled a no ball, you should bowl a free hit ball. No. End of the over, done. That's a mistake. That run counts. Run counts. Run counts. Yes. As long, let's just say 7th ball is a regular delivery and the batsman got out, it's out. The ball is bowled, decision has been made. So 7th ball is a legal delivery and you got out. It's out. Still it's out. The decision still stands. You cannot change what happened in the ball. Yes, but for no ball, you cannot apply the additional rule of having a free hit ball. That's another mistake you're making. All right, guys, pay attention almost to the end. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, it stands. It's still 6 balls for the next over. The over, so we are not adjusting something because you made a mistake. Mistake stands. 7 balls. That over is having 7 balls. Even if, let's say, I'll give you an example too. Let's say this guy bowled his quota of 4 overs. The scorer miscalculated the name or miswritten the name. Okay, we have similar names. So somebody was thinking and you made a mistake. Then this guy bowls, let's say 5.2. Then you realize, hey, this guy is bowling the 5th over. Okay, you can stop the game there. Those 2 balls are still valid, but ideally you still have to have 4 balls bowled for that over to be completed. So some other bowler has to come and finish those 4 balls, but that does not apply for a free hit saying that previous ball was a no ball, over is complete, let me bowl a free hit ball. No. Okay? Your question? Oh. All right. We already discussed pretty much all these scenarios, right? No ball takes precedence, deliberation by word. Yeah. So we already covered all these scenarios. Go to, I think so. Okay, yeah. So this one I probably didn't cover. Okay, I'll give you an. Yeah, we already discussed it, right? Even if the fielding infringement, there are 3 fielders inside the circle are supposed to be 4, you called a no ball. You have to let the teams adjust it so there won't be a no ball deadlock. You keep calling no balls, keep calling straight, it's not going to happen. Okay? So don't be that lucky. So the last one, ball hitting the helmet worn by a fielder. So for examples of the situation, your wicketkeeper is wearing a helmet, or your first slip or somebody, let's say your silly point is wearing a helmet. Batsman played a shot, the ball hits the helmet worn by a fielder and goes into the air. What happens? It gets caught. Out. They have changed it. The previous conditions were as soon as the ball hit the helmet, it was not out, it's a dead. But now they changed it. Irrespective, as long as the helmet is not on the ground. Here, the helmet is considered as a part of protection for the batsman. So they changed it. Even if it's a wicket keeper, let's say the same thing. Bowler bowls a ball, batsman tries to go front foot and play a shot. The keeper couldn't see the ball. So he put his head down or something. The ball hits the helmet and goes and hits the stumps. With the batsman being outside the crease, he is still stumped out because the ball is still in play. If it hits the pads and hits the stumps, it's still stumped out. The same thing applies to the helmet as long as the helmet is worn No. Are you saying that all the stumps are completely grounded? The ball is still active. It don't become automatically dead. By the time the silly fielder or the silly point fielder can go back and put the stumps again in position and can attempt a run out. As long as the ball is still in play, you can rearrange the stumps, no problem. Any other questions? Go ahead. If it's an accident, yes, go ahead. So there are two situations in your situation. I don't know if you guys remember, Kevin Peterson had this problem. When there was a bouncer, Kevin tried to play the ball and it hit the helmet and fall on the stumps. It's out because that action happened when the ball is in play. Typically, he's accepting the ball, right? But let's say if you want a helmet and suddenly, accidentally dropped down. Let's say your keeper is having helmet and he didn't notice it and he put it head down and helmet fall down. Accidental is different. Deliberate is different. But when you have, when the happening in play is different. It's again, this happens. So in the action, this happened even with Chris Srikanth too. Srikanth did the same thing back in the day, but they changed it. What they said was earlier, as soon as the ball passed, they didn't count. But now, as long as the ball is, the batsman is still in process of taking the action, right? So the ball is coming, he's still in playing the shot, and if he did the ball, throw the bat on the stumps, he's still out because that's still happening. It's an action. It's not a completed situation, right? All right. So good question. Yeah, it does. The ball does not become dead. If the question in the room is, so batsman played a shot, the bat got broken. He played a swing shot, bat got broken, and the piece of the bat went and fall on the stumps. He's still out. It still is simple as the helmet falling on the stumps because that's part of the batsman. Bat breaking is unlucky, but there's nothing we could do. Same thing. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Go to the next slide. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah. One last thing. This is a time calculation. Right, guys, real quick. This may be helpful when there is a game that is raining and you don't know how many overs you want to do it. You can do a simple calculation. So I'm going to go through this one real quick. So imagine this is a 20-over game, supposed to start at 10 o'clock. And you lost 1 hour of play time for rain or delay, whatever. Now you're starting, your new game is 11 o'clock. There is still a game at 2:30, the second game. So you have to make sure this game is done. How do you come to a good calculated numbers, right? So typically the time left for you is 2 hours, 15 minutes. With 15 minutes is the extended time. You always give like 15 minutes buffer time. So then you have 135 minutes left. Our calculation is you have to finish your over in 4.25 minutes. So 135 by 4.25 is 31 over 76. So you round it to the highest decimal. You have 32 overs to be played by both teams, right? So that is 16, typically 32 overs. But there is a 10-minute change of innings, which typically lasts 3 hours of the play time. So now you have 29 overs divided by 2 is 14.5. You have 15 overs per side to play. That's how you calculate based on the time remaining. You can also do a calculation based on the time lost. You can simply say, I lost 1 hour of my time, which is 60 minutes, divide by 4.25, which will give you 14 overs lost in total, which is 7 hours each. Then you can go back and say 13 overs per side you can play. But I'm just coming to there. I'm just giving you a calculation example. There is nothing in here that prevents you to do so. So if you are coming to 13 overs, that is an odd number for you to do a calculation. Whereas 15 is the maximum over, it's easier for your math. So always we recommend playing the more time. So 15 overs is probably an ideal way. Okay? But this is how you do a calculation just in case if you need to. I think that's pretty much it, right? Yeah. All right, guys. Time for your exam. You don't want an exam? Okay, I think I missed that point, right? So if let's say, okay, let me actually, guys. One last thing, one last question, guys. Sorry, I missed this. Pay attention, please. One last question. This is about wicketkeeper movements. One of the critical questions too. Can a wicketkeeper move forward or backward? So wicketkeepers are allowed to make a tiny movement, 1 step ahead, 2 steps ahead maximum. Let's say if he's a fast bowler, he's standing 10 steps behind. He can come 2 steps, but he shouldn't be running in close to the stumps like he's making a stump out. Even if the batsman leaves the ground in process of making a shot, and if he's behind, he can still take 2 steps, that's all. Again, you shouldn't be running in, because if he starts, let's say, I'm a batsman, I started to walk, and then keeper starts to walk, that's unfair movement. Okay? Yes, that's unfair movement. You typically call, actually, sorry, that's a dead ball. You call dead ball, then you warn it, and next time it happens, you'll call no ball. But the first time you call a dead ball. Substantial, yes. So that's again unused discretion. How far? Sorry. Okay. All right, guys. చెప్పే కదా చెప్పు guys on the remote Abhish. All right. Okay, sir, ఇక్కడ ఆపేయమని ఇక్కడ ఆపేయమంటావా? All right, guys, on remote session, we're going to drop the session here. You guys take the exam. Good luck with the exams. I will reach out to the regional representatives. All right, guys. Thank you.